What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with D2M Knives and Gear, and today, really excited to bring you the full review of this guy. This is the Renegade EDC Provisions Co. Gungnir. This is a prototype knife that was designed by our buddy Chris over at Renegade EDC. He has a YouTube channel and Instagram, of course, website. All of that stuff will be linked down below. I'm really excited about this because here lately I've been able to check out some prototype knives from people that I have met, people that I haven't met, but friends in the community that are actually stepping up and actually making their own blades. I think that is awesome. And yeah, Chris over at Renegade EDC was the first, and I am lucky enough to be one of the guys who will be able to check this thing out. I actually already have put my order in for this knife because the pre-order has already come and gone. If there's still some available, I don't remember. I should have looked before I started this, but if there is any, of course, I'll have his website linked down below so you can go do that. But the pre-order, I believe, is done for these, and I couldn't be more excited. Now, this is a prototype, so the full version or the production version of this knife is going to be a little bit different. Let's go ahead and get those differences out of the way. So, we're working with titanium bolster lock with micarta, M390 blade, titanium backspacer, and you're going to have an option of this 3D milled pocket clip and a wire pocket clip, deep carry wire pocket clip. I chose the deep carry wire pocket clip just because I love wire pocket. I'm so happy that he did that he gave you the option. And one of the reasons he did the 3D mill pocket clip, because this knife is, you know, $425. It is a Riot small production run knife, so that price is right around there with all of the other ones. And so he felt like a 3D mill pocket clip, people wanted that for the price tag. I was like, I don't care, because this pocket clip carries phenomenally, but I chose the wire pocket clip, and I'm pretty sure that the wire pocket clip will be reversible, which is awesome for lefties. But the changes that he made was, as you can see here, as of right now, it's just got a fuller. So that fuller right there was actually intended to be a cutout, but it was just a miscommunication between Riot and Chris on the drawings that he had. That's already been taken care of. The production models are going to have a slot here that's going to be wider. It's going to be stepped down, kind of like a step down jimping inside there to give you really nice, good grip to be able to do the middle finger flick on. I can't wait for that. Then the other thing that he's going to do and change, which I think is just awesome because it's not bad. However, whenever I heard about this and then I got this in hand, I was like, yeah, this could probably use this bolster to come down just a little bit. It's going to give you a little bit more room to get your thumb in there and disengage the blade. Not that this one is bad. I actually found it to be freaking awesome and easy. However, if it comes down a little bit, I think it's just going to make it better. So I'm very happy about that. This bolster is going to be just a little bit longer. I think he said something about 3 millimeters or so to get that a little bit more room to you to get your finger in there and get it out of the way. He has put a scallop on this guy, which, as you can see here, well, maybe goes all the way back here. And so I believe that's what's going to happen, is this is going to come back down and kind of match where that scallop is, because you don't really need to put your finger right here with the bolsters. You can put it right underneath. I can't really show you that. Right underneath to get that out of the way and drop the blade, but it's going to make it even better. So I am very happy. Other than that, this thing is pretty much in production shape. So black micarta, you have an option for green micarta. I love Riot's micarta. They're some of the best. It's not super slick. It's not super grippy. It's right there in that sweet spot, in my opinion. It was the same way on Jake's knife, the Avant. This thing has T8 hardware all the way around. The only thing you need is a T8. That is absolutely amazing. Of course, being a knife enthusiast, knife guy, that's what he wanted to do. And so I am very happy. So as you can see, guys, if you haven't seen this, this is the Gungnir. Did I even say that? I don't even know if I saw the Gungnir. That's the Gungnir from Chris. And it's a very big knife. You guys know me, and of course, everybody that I'm friends with and stuff on groups, when they first saw this knife, they're like, that's a Kyle knife. And I was like, yes, sir, it is. A big beautiful beast of a blade like this made by Renegade, sign me up. And I did. As soon as I knew that they were going on, I fucking bought it. Because yes, this is definitely a cow-sized knife. And as of right now, it has that fuller, and I can still do the reverse flick, but I do give it a little bit of risk because it doesn't give me as much grip. Obviously, that's going to be fixed on the production model. Some people can do it without like I almost got it right there. And if I'm doing it straight up like this, if I go like sideways, I almost always get it. So I am super freaking excited. So what else do we have here? As far as designs, look at this big chunk of M390 blade. That, my ladies and gentlemen, is a hollow grind. And a very, obviously, a hollow grind done by, I don't know if I can show you that, Renegade. God, they kill it, guys. And they killed it on this one. As you can see, these grind lines, they go this way on the flat, and then these super freaking deep hollow grind that's on there has a pretty wide blade, but the hollow grind is not like too deep. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have plenty of room and thinness on this blade for plenty of sharpenings. This knife was designed by Chris as a work knife. The guy uses his knives, not like I do. I do very, very minor stuff with my knives on a daily basis because that's all that I do for work, right? If I was a construction worker or something like that, I'd use my knives a little bit more, but I'm not. So this design was for work, but a classy work, right? I mean, this is a nice looking knife. Very, very nice materials, but holy crap, it feels like it could just take a beating. Very, very sturdy, very, very big. So he put a very large blade on this thing. This has a 4-inch cutting edge, which is like 4 1/4 inch for blade length. But you have a full 4 inches of cutting edge. I find it whenever I have a very big blade like this, coupled with a handle that's also as long because it has to get that thing in there, I find it very useful for me because I have options. When I have a smaller knife in my hand, I don't really have as many options as I like than with a big knife, right? Now, granted, I don't use it all the time. I just like to know that I can. With something like this and the ergonomics that we have here, which is still somewhat neutral, but it's about perfect. So I put my finger right behind that flipper tab there. And as you can see, even with my big meat hooks, I've got room. So I've got room where I can choke back, still feel locked in to do any kind of chopping task that I need to do. It's big enough where I could totally use this thing as a food prep knife without any worries. In this grip right here, matter of fact, I did that with just a few vegetables. It worked amazing. It's just something that I like. I mean, if you don't like big knives, you're not going to carry it. I get it. I totally get it. I like big knives. And I carry knives that are humongo, not good in the pocket, and heavy. Okay, so we'll just put this guy out here. This is the Midgard's Viking, Midgard's Messer Viking, excuse me. Big old boy. So we can put this. I got other size comparisons we're going to do, but we'll just do this. As you can see, it's a big sumbitch. But this thing is not just big, but it's thick and it's really, really heavy. This thing is big. And it's not a lightweight, obviously. It's not going to, be a bug-out killer or anything. But let me tell you, this thing carries like a dream. Way better than I thought that it was going to carry. Now, like I said, I carry stuff like that, and I don't have a problem with it. So when this thing got in the pocket, and I was just amazed, because I only carry my primary pocket knife in my right front pocket. I was amazed on how much I basically forgot it was there. And that's with the milled pocket clip. I guarantee you that the wire pocket clip is going to make it carry even better. So carry on this thing was absolutely wonderful, even though it's a very long and very wide blade. I actually don't know what you guys know. We'll flip a camera around and do size comparisons and specs in a little bit. But from the widest point on this knife, we're looking at right under 2 inches, about 1.93. So, under 2 inches this way, which, seems pretty wide when you're talking about, let's just do, but look at this. This is a PM2, and kind of hard to do this with a PM2, but it's about 1.650 this way. Okay, 1.9 1.65. So it's really not that bad. And if you'll see, it's wider, but it's not like ridiculous, kind of like this hump is on this, on the PM2. Some people just don't like that. I believe, even with it being wide like that, that most people are not going to notice it as much as they even would with the PM2, even though it's smaller. I might be crazy. I'm fucking crazy. But it just surprised me is what I'm trying to get at on how well it carried. I love it. Part of the ergonomics that I also love is this little area right here. This is not meant to be a finger choil, okay? However, I actually can put one knuckle behind this guy and still be away from that edge. Not like miles away, but I'm still able to put my finger there and get behind the blade to do detail cuts. That really, really is nice because I really like finger choils, and I almost wish that this thing did have a full finger choil, but I understand why he didn't do that. He wanted to maximize his cutting edge to get that 4 inches, and so I can't complain there. And even without a finger choil necessarily, it does have what is called a flipper choil, and what me and Kevin call it, and it works really well. This thing, in every single grip that I put it in, is absolutely comfortable as hell. It is not very thick. I mean, it's thicker than some, but it's not very thick in the handle this way. It's wide this way. What that translates to me with my big hands is, even though it's thin, but it's wide this way, it feels amazing in hand because I feel like I've got a grip on this thing like a firearm. Like I've got a grip. I can just hold this thing and I'm not worried about it leaving my hand. I don't like... With this grip, my fingers don't touch my palm, which usually happens with a thinner blade, almost all of them. So this is about perfect for my hands, and I believe it'll still be comfortable for people with small hands because guess what? Jake over at Bearded Gear, he likes this knife. It fits well for him. I mean, obviously, he doesn't carry big, huge knives like this all the time, but he's got some, and a well-designed big knife he does like. Kevin, Lefty EDC. Chris from Grady's Gear, did he get this yet? I don't remember. But anyways, if you have smaller hands, I still think this is going to work if you like carrying the big blades. I know a lot of people don't. People get on me all the time. Why do you need a blade that big? You know what? First of all, I don't. Really, myself. I prefer it, though. I love big blades. And I especially love the ones that are well designed. One thing that is very well designed on this knife is the jimping and where it's placed. Right there, guys. Ugh. Like, I can't tell you how much I love this knife in the Saber Grip because it feels like it was made for my hands. It's up here. It is up here, and that's where my thumb lands. The jimping back here on a bunch of knives is useless to me because my thumb never rides there unless it has a ramp to where I hold it like this, which I'm not as comfortable with. I like this. This right here is phenomenal. And the reason it's phenomenal is because the jimping is placed where I want, and the jimping is done very, very well. He's got, come on, camera. Any day now, motherfucker. Son of a bitch. There we go. As you can see, it's relatively close. The spacing is close, but it's also got chamfers in between the grooves to where it's actually grippy. It's grippy, but it is not sharp. A lot of them will be either too sharp or not grippy enough. This really is about perfect. I bet you some people are going to want to bring it down some because if you do have smaller hands, maybe your thumb doesn't ride perfectly like mine does. But I love the way it's at, and so I'm not going to complain about that. I think I heard somebody say maybe just a little bit further down, but for me it's perfect. I love it. This freaking hollow grind, guys. I've really gotten to where hollow grind is my favorite grind. Now, obviously, your flat grind, your high saber grinds, they have a place and they do well for a lot of tasks. But a hollow grind, same kind of thing. I've just, especially from Riyadh, I have just been falling in love with a hollow grind. This has this ting. Now, it's not tinging, like I heard the ting on Chris's video, but it doesn't have the ting like I heard on their videos. But it has that really satisfying thwack. And the reason it has the thwack is because of that big old blade and the deployment methods. This flipper tab, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect. It sticks out right here, but it does have a little bit of jimping. If it was if it was any further this way, it wouldn't work. If it was any further out, it would be kind of annoying. It's really perfect for me to just put my finger there and then do a push button. Did you hear that ting? It did it that time. I absolutely love to flick this knife. Flippers usually get boring to me. I will do a flipper, and if I can't do a reverse flick, it gets boring to me. So this knife is going to have two deployment methods, and both that I really like. The reason I like the flipper is because of that thwack. It is a 4 1/4 inch blade that fires out of there. Now, can you fail this knife? You absolutely can fail this knife because it's so huge. The detent is dialed really well. However, if you're straight up and down, it won't go all the way out. That's almost no knife does that. The Holt Haptic did it, but on a flipper, it's really hard, especially with that big old blade. But if I'm not holding it up like this, if I'm holding it in any other position, it fires out of there like with authority and not just kind of, it almost goes. It takes the inertia of this big old blade and just locks up. Speaking of a lockup, solid as a rock. Like absolutely solid as a rock. And it came, I mean, I haven't tweaked this knife. I haven't done anything with it. It is dead centered. If anything, it's off to the show side by cunt hair. And if that offends you, fuck off. Just a tad bit. But absolutely rock solid. I love the fact that he's got these titanium, it's a titanium bolster lock, and it does have a lock bar insert. All the things that we really want to have in a knife with this price range, it's got. It does have a lanyard hole for you guys who like the lanyards. I don't personally use one, but I like the way he put it right there at the end of the knife. The pocket clip is right here. It doesn't get in the way of the pocket clip. I really, really enjoy that. So holding this knife, cutting with this knife, just the freaking look of this knife is amazing. I am so glad that I was able to get in on this pre-order. Now, like I said, I got the OD green and the wire pocket clip. So when I get that, obviously I will do another video since this is a prototype. Let's see, what else is there? Like I said, it's got simple hardware, but it's all T8. I cannot wait to get the actual hole though. That's just gonna make the knife even better for me. I really can't wait for that. Let's go ahead and do some cuts. So when I got this knife, it's been through a lot of reviewers. When I got this knife, all I really have done is stropped it before I cut. So slicing cardboard with that really thin hollow grind, easy peasy Japanesey. What about the Paracord? Like it's nothing. Did I even leave myself enough room with this big old wide blade? Like it's nothing. What about the tougher stuff? Twisted sisal rope. This stuff gives blades a hard time. What are we gonna do? Let's see. Slipped off. Oh, you hear that bite there. See, it bit in, but it slipped off the first time. Once I actually pressed, I think I did that pretty poorly, actually, which I always do with the twisted sisal rope. So once I bit in and then sliced, it did fine, but whenever I tried, let's do it again. Let's do it again, because I really think it was my fault. What did I do with my shit? This is what always gives me trouble is the twisted sisal rope, and I almost always think it's my fault. But we're fixing to see. Damn, I didn't cut myself a long enough piece. I do that too. So let's go ahead. We're gonna do the push, and there we go. So there we go. So all I did was push to get it to bite in and then slide, because as you can see, it does basically have all belly, and whenever that happens, if you don't bite in, it will slide right out. So as you look at that clean, if I can get my camera, clean cut. It's amazing as far as a cutter. I really enjoyed cutting with this. And the reason it's a good cutter is because it's only 150 thousandths blade stock thickness, but it comes down to like 18 thousandths behind the edge. So it's got the thinness. The tip, so we can show that. The tip is still very, very, not delicate, but very thin. So where, since it has this, the drop here, you can get it on a table, cut out labels and stuff, and it's thin enough to be able to do that, but not thin enough to where I believe I'm going to be breaking this thing, which I don't do that kind of shit anyway. But if I had to do any kind of stabbing task, it would handle it. Now, this is not a stabbing blade. This is a cutting blade, in my opinion, but you do have a point to get in there and do what you need to do. What else? Damn, that thwack. I freaking love that thwack. And I haven't even talked about the closing action. This closing action is about as fall shut as you want in a knife. There is no resistance. with this blade. Drops, boom, hit your thumb, and just falls. Absolutely no resistance. It's actually really fun to let it just boom, like it doesn't even hit your nail. Like you can actually fling it and let it go. It's kind of dangerous, I know, but that is a lot of fun. The fact that it falls shut like this is another thing that I just really, really enjoy as being a fidgeter, not really a user. It has nothing to do with the actual function of the knife. But as far as being an enthusiast and what I like, that's what I like. I like a blade to do that right there. The detent sucks it back in. The detent is actually really good. Could it be a little bit stronger? Maybe, but I don't think it really needs it. And the real test will be whenever I get my version in, the production version with the hole instead of the fuller. That's going to give me a lot. That's going to tell me more, let's put it that way, about if the detent is where it needs to be. It feels like it's absolutely perfect. And then, of course, for the flipper, it works really well. Of course, my detent industry standard is the Leon Ma Field Duty. The action and detent on this guy is absolutely perfect. And so I do compare knives to it. And these are pretty damn similar. We'll turn the camera around in a second. And these are pretty damn similar knives. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn the camera around and get a closer look at some size comparisons, do a little more specs, because I've already talked about specs a lot. But you can get a better, closer look at this guy and then compare it to some other really good knives that I have in the collection that I think work well with this, and give you a good idea of just how big it is. Because, guys, it's a big one. It's a big knife. Hey, righty, let's go ahead and get a closer look at this guy, shall we? So there you can see the really nice blasted finish on the titanium bolster side, transitioning between the micarta and titanium. Really nicely done. It is really nicely rounded off. Would not expect anything less from Riat Manufacturing. Nice rounding off on the jimping and on that flipper tab, which makes it very, very comfortable. Titanium backspacer still transitioning there. Absolutely wonderful. Just a beautiful freaking knife. I mean, get you a good look at the grind lines. Of course, it's now got smoothy on it because I cut stuff. Look at those grind lines. Oh my God. That's such a good job. And then, of course, those satin flats that go that way. Oh, is that hand satin that goes that way? That might be hand satin too. Oy, oy, oy. It just makes me so fucking happy when I have a knife like this. So let's put it in a circle. Yep, it's big. Oh, and I love it, I love it, I love it. Get it up, another good look in my hand. As you can see, do have some sticking out. It is just an absolute beast of a knife in the hand, and I love it. What are the specs? How big is it? Well, it is 9.34 inches overall length. Hoy, that's a big knife. It is 4 1/4 inch blade length with a 4-inch cutting edge. Like I said, it weighs about 6.9 ounces with that big chunk of M390 steel. It has a blade thickness of about 130 thousandths. It has a blade width of about 1.675, like I said, and then the handle thickness is 0.586, which is right there in that sweet spot, especially for me with it being wider this way. It's amazing, amazing, amazing in the hand. So let's go ahead and put it up against some others, okay? So let's go ahead first and put it up against the knife that really is comparable to this as far as manufacturing, the way they are in design. So obviously they're two different knives, but you have a really nice titanium bolster lock with carbon fiber, really nice titanium bolster lock with micarta. So this one has a hole for deployment. This one is going to have a hole for deployment, but the only difference is this one has a flipper as well. I like that. I like having multiple deployment options. With the Leon Ma Field Duty, there is nothing else better as far as the detent in action. So I want every knife to feel like this. That's really what I do. However, detents have to be tuned a little bit different when you're talking about multiple deployment methods. And so, yes, this detent is really, really nicely done, and I can't wait to get the hole in there to really give you an idea of how well that is, because I can't really say until that happens. But as you can see, pivot to pivot, it is is still a much bigger knife than the Field Duty, which is already a big knife for a lot of people, but one of the best in the business. Let's go ahead and put it up against another Leon Mauve just because it is a big boy too. This is the Koof 4.0. And as you can see, pretty similar. The Koof is just a little bit smaller as far as the overall length. You're thinner this way. But yeah, pretty big. This is the big boy. Another big old knife that I have. This is the Cold Steel 4MAX. So as you can see, the 4MAX is still bigger than this, but it ain't far from it. It's pretty damn close. And then, of course, one of my favorite big knives of all time, the only hand custom that I have, is the Sean O'Connell LBXL. And as you can see, they are pretty similar. The Gungnir actually has it by just a hair. Freaking love big knives. And if you don't, since I get it, you're probably gone. But if you do, you're probably sticking around. I'm telling you, if you like big knives, this is one you must have. Now, the Gungnir. So the Gungnir is named after Odin's spear. I am not familiar with Norse mythology at all. Chris is. He named it after Odin's spear because he's into that. It also, another little cool little, it has 9 slots here for the 9 realms. I don't know a damn thing about it. Don't care about it at all, actually. But I think it's cool when designers and makers put little things like that in there to you know, just put their own little spice on it, their own little flair. I mean, it's called the Gungnir, which is Odin's spear. It's not a spear point, but it doesn't have to be a spear point, right? I think it's an awesome name for this knife, the Gungnir. Like, when I first heard it, I was like, what is that? And then I heard him explain it. I'm like, oh, okay, because I'm a huge Marvel fan. That's the only Norse mythology that I know of is that, because I don't really care about learning anything else about it. But I know Odin, and I know Odin's spear from the Marvel movies, and so I thought it was awesome. Hold on a second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Alabama summertime. It happens. So, anyways, this knife, absolute beauty. I cannot wait to get my own. I'm not exactly sure when the pre-production will hit the market, because it's one of those things where I think Riyadh is kind of falling behind in production. I've heard, 6 to 9 months and all that. If you have a pre-order, all the updates and stuff will be, of course, on his Instagram and website. So definitely go check that out, which the links will be down below. And give him a follow on he's got a really good YouTube channel. The guy's basically professional and everything. He does so much. Chris is just, I don't think the man ever fucking sleeps. He's into a lot of stuff. When you're on his website, check out his other stuff. He has hanks, he has leather goods, he has so many different things that he is into, that you can basically find something for everybody. And oh crap, I didn't have his hank is in my other room. I got one of his hanks that was a gift from Lefty EDC. He makes very, very good high quality hanks with a leather tag. It's just absolutely beautiful. Definitely go check it out. Go to his store and look at all of his stuff. Guys, I know I'm rambling on. I do that with knives that I fall in love with. This is definitely one, and definitely one that I can recommend. Yes, the price tag is $425, but you are getting premium materials from a premium manufacturer, and it's a limited run. I mean, that's what happens with a limited run. If you don't, some of these big manufacturers who make this exact knife would probably be able to sell it cheaper because they make thousands or hundreds of them. This is not the case. So keep that in mind. You will be getting these knives, through a very small run. And I believe they're going to be numbered. Don't quote me on that, because now I don't remember. But that would be cool, because there's absolutely no branding on this knife. I did not tell you or say anything about that unless it's inside. I don't think so. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Yeah, I don't see any laser marking or anything. They might put it on the backspacer. They might put it somewhere else. They might not put it on there at all. So anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by and listening to me ramble. I love you all. Fuck YouTube and Google, and stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in. And we will see you in the next one.